Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wanted to play a game that wasn't about action? Have you ever wanted to play a game that wasn't always about constant shooting? Have you ever wanted to play a game that wasn't always about fighting? Maybe you wanted to play a game with stealth, a game that was about avoiding the conflict, a game that was about not accounting the danger and using your gadgets and skills to the test. If you were just thinking about Metal Gear, Splinter Cell, or Hitman, you'd be right, but unfortunately not today's video. No, we'll be talking about Sly Cooper in the Thevious Racoonus. But before that, let's talk about how I got into the Sly Cooper series. Back in 2009, I was over at my aunt's house. While I was playing some games with my cousin, I saw Sly 3 on Among Thieves. I asked if I could keep it, and he said yes. So when I came back home, I tried the game for myself and absolutely enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the art style, and I most definitely enjoyed the gameplay. It was something new and I loved it. For this and the next two videos, I plan to do all three of the Sly games. And with that said, it's time to start the review. Let's begin with the story. It's 4:20 a.m. in Paris. A shadowy figure is running on the rooftops of France, and is revealed to be Sly Cooper, the thief. His mission is to steal his police files from the police headquarters. With assistance from his friends Bentley, the brains of the operation, and Murray, the getaway driver, he's able to steal his files and escape after encountering Inspector Carmelita Fox. It's after this when we're told about his origins. Sly grew up from a long line of master thieves who kept and wrote their history and skills in an ancient book known as the Thevious Racoonus. On the night Sly was supposed to read the book, 5 unwanted guests broke into his home, killing his father and stealing the pages of the Thevious Racoonus, leaving Sly as the sole survivor and forcing him to live in an orphanage, where he met his best friends Bentley and Murray. So together they plan to take down the Fiendish Five, avenge his father, and restore the Thevious Racoonus. But in order to do so, they need to travel across the world to find the culprits. The members include Raleigh, the engineerist, Mugshot, the gunslinger, Miss Ruby, the mystic priest, Panda King, the demolition expert, and finally the leader and true culprit of Sly's father's death, Clockwork, the being born of hate and jealousy of the Cooper name. Surprisingly enough, when Sly collects the stolen pages of Clockwork, his shadows can be seen on the photos of Sly's previous ancestors, showing that the owl has been around for hundreds of years. It's a cool detail that first-timer players wouldn't have noticed. So after defeating the Fiendish Five and finally Clockwork with some assistance from Inspector Carmelita, he's able to retrieve the last page of the book and give the inspector the slip to escape. And that sums up the plot. When it comes to the story, it's really only about Sly avenging his father and restoring the Thevious Racoonus. There's nothing else to it. As a starter to the first game, it's fine, and it does get better when you play the next two games. As for the voice acting, it's pretty good. Everyone sounds natural and no one is trying to overstep their roles. We got Kevin Miller voicing Sly Cooper, Matt Olson voicing Bentley, Chris Murphy voicing Murray, and Roxanne Ortega voicing Carmelita. They all do their jobs with their character.
Sly! Come in! Sly! Do you read me?
Yeah, I read you. Loud and very loud.
Freeze, raccoon!
How can I freeze when my heart warms at the very sight of you?
Shut up, Ringtail. I don't know what you're doing here in China, but I'm sure it can't be good for whoever owns this place.
You must only have eyes for me if you're too blind to see what's going on around here.
Talk stand for a quick snack, and the next thing you know, I'm getting challenged to a race by these gangster dogs.
When it comes to the character models, cutscenes, and level design, all of them look good as well. The characters are natural looking, with the exception of Carmelita. I don't know if it's just me or not, but it looks as if her size is much bigger than what it's supposed to be. The cutscenes are 2D based, resembling a lot like a comic book. So far in my entire history of gaming, I have never seen another title that's done this feature. It's because of that, Sly Cooper's art style and cutscenes are unique as a result. And for the level design, the worlds you travel in are heavily based off of actual Earth locations. These examples are Wales, located in the UK, Mesa City in America, Heishi, located around the Atlantic Ocean, Kunlun, located in the mountains of China, and finally Kakaru Volcano, located in Russia. Also, before I forget, there's the soundtrack. It's alright, not my top favorite, but I did enjoy a few tracks. Back Alley Heist, I love the jazziness. A Stealthy Approach is okay, but out of all of them, the Swamp's Dark Center has to be the one that stands out the most because of its unsettling tone. But alright, it's about time I get into the gameplay. Sly Cooper is a stealth platformer. The worlds you play in are linear based, but in those worlds are portals that you need to enter to complete that stage's task. The objective of the game is to collect certain numbers of keys to progress through the worlds. It's not complicated. All you need to do is simply go through the obstacles in different stages and beat some of the minigames and deal with Carmelita. Carmelita will show up in certain stages, and all you'll need to do is escape while avoiding her rain of fire. When it comes to the minigames, you have to complete their objectives. One might have you light up 26 candles, while the others will have you collect chickens for a ghost and even collect treasure chests before crabs. There are means to an end, so it's not the end of the world when you play these. Now when it comes to Sly himself, he may be agile, but that doesn't mean he isn't fragile. If the Cooper gets hit once, it's a game over. It's not the end of the world, since the game compensates for Sly's weakness. One of these compensations include the Lucky Charms. No, not the cereal, the horseshoes. If you can collect one, you can take a hit, and if you grab two, you can take 2 hits. There's also extra lives you can attain. You start the game with 5, but when you find more, the number will increase. The charms and lives even respawn when you re-enter a stage. This can be abused so much to the point where death has no consequences. You may be frustrated, yes, but you will have nothing to fear. This also includes Sly's combat abilities. After you defeat the bosses in each stage, you unlock his new abilities. You can even get more by unlocking the saves in each world, but in order to do so, you'll need to find and break clues that are trapped in bottles. A few of these techniques are turning invisible, stunning enemies for a few seconds, and even slowing down time or increasing it. So you have the means to counter your opponents, but you still have to be careful. There are also some missions where you have to either play as Murray or protect him from getting attacked. Murray's the burn of the group, always getting himself into trouble. The race parts are almost Crash 3 bad, but the difference is that you have full control of what you're doing. Then we have the parts where you're required to protect him. Just be careful, if you hit the hippopotamus once, he dies. But speaking of which, there are some unlockable content you can do after completing the game. When you complete the time trials in every world and stage, you get to listen to the actual developers in the game's commentary. It's very neat, because not many game developers do these things. There's even an anime cutscene that looks very cool in full Japanese. Overall, Sly Cooper and the Thevious Racoonus is a decent start for his first title. It may have aged in some parts, but it did its job by fixing the mistakes in the sequels. With that being said, everyone have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.